Hello, first video in a long time, I'm sorry about that, I'll get on to why that is in a second. I'll just introduce the game. I just literally just finished playing this game. They had a team of 5, I think they had 4 50s and a 47 or something, and we had a random team all searching alone with a mixed set of ranks. And I tried to do a live commentary through it, but about halfway through I gave up because I was finding it really hard to talk and play at the same time like I used to, because I haven't made a video in a while, I think. So I just gave up with that, and eventually I decided to record the audio after, which is what I'm doing now. But I've just been to a job interview, and I'm really hoping to get this job. But the first thing we had to do, or I had to do, because it was a singular interview, it wasn't a group one. I had to set up this computer, basically, I was told to, and then add a printer to the network. And it's not as simple as just at home, where you just add a printer, because it's a big company thing. And you have to add it all to spec, and so I was given half an hour to do both things. I wasn't told what state the PC was in, I didn't know what was wrong with it if it didn't work. So I just cracked on with that first, because like that's my kind of thing. I like hardware maintenance, basically. I like building my PC, I like messing around with my PC, installing new cards and stuff. So I thought that would be what I'd do best at, and it did take me the shortest amount of time. But I was really annoyed at the end of it, because I asked at the start if I had to put the motherboard in, or I kind of like jokingly said that, and he said, no, you don't have to do anything like that, it would take too long. So I figured, fine, the machine itself's fine, I just need to sort through this massive cables, because they just basically put a big pile of cables on, and I needed to find the right power supply, power cable, the right kind of like DVI or VGA cable, and then the monitor power, and the mouse and keyboard, and if they needed PS adapters, whatever those adapters are called, you know, the purple or the green one. I really should know the name, but I think I call them PS2s, but then I might just be thinking of the console, obviously. So I started with this, and then I had it all set up. I wondered why it wasn't working, so I tried to boot it off the network, and then the guy came over and tried to stop me. Says, you're not supposed to be able to boot off the network. So he stopped me doing that, and so I asked, and then I just double checked. I said, is everything alright with the machine? And then he just said, you're not supposed to know what state the machine's in. So I was like, oh, okay. It was cracked out. Well, I didn't crack it. I opened up the case, and then there was just the HDD wasn't plugged into the motherboard, and it was so simple, and it took like an extra 5 minutes because I turned it off and on. Like that's just like your go-to check to see why isn't it working. Actually, I turned it off and on so I could get the network boot command, because I went past it on the first boot up. So I was a bit annoyed at that, because I wasted 5 minutes I could have been spent on setting up the printer, and it actually meant that I didn't finish doing the printer. I was on to the very, very last stage of adding the printer. So I was a bit gutted at that. And then there was like the interview, the way you sit on the chair in front of the row of people. I feel that went pretty alright, because personally I'm not a great speaker. I know. In fact, that's one of the main reasons I started doing YouTube videos, was just to try and improve my public speaking. As you can see, I'm stuttering and stammering, and getting away from the point, so I'm still not there yet, so I'll still keep making videos. But for me, I think the interview went well. There were just a couple of hiccups. One question they asked was, what's your biggest weakness? And I was like kind of panicking at this, because I don't really know what my biggest weakness is. I eventually kind of figured that I'm not confrontational, but I'm a bit hypocritical. So like, if I walk into like a cafe and there's loads of people just on the Macs, I'll think like, oh, why would you choose a Mac? They're useless, there's no freedom, it's all fixed, you can't get inside it, you can't change anything, it's crap for gaming. But then if I'm with a group of people who are all kind of Mac bashing, I'll then kind of side with the Mac people. I guess when people kind of like argue about stuff, it helps me see the flaws in both arguments. So a more serious example of this would be when I'm going home, and I'm with a religious family. I kind of like get put off it all. But then if I go online and or like I'm at university and people are anti-religion, I see everyone as quite foolish whenever they're arguing. So I tend to side with the side that people aren't arguing for, which is a pretty big weakness of mine. But anyway, the example I gave was, when I'm in a team, I like to be alone, but when I'm alone, I'd prefer to be in a team, which is the worst example of being hypocritical, if it even is an example of being hypocritical that I can think of. In a flipping job interview, you say you meant bring up teamwork and not wanting to be in a team or not wanting to work alone. It's the worst example I could have possibly given, and I'm really annoyed at myself. I should have just like jokingly said, "Oh, I've got a bad music taste" or something like that as my weakest point. So I'm a bit annoyed at that. I'd certainly like to give it another go, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll get a job. Anyway, I should mention. I said that I was going to start. I said I was going to talk about why I haven't been making videos for a while. It's basically just because I haven't been playing Halo 3, and consistent content's what you want from a YouTube channel. And I've set myself up as a Halo 3 channel, and so that's what I guess people want to watch. I have got stuff in the works that isn't Halo 3, but I'm not too confident about putting it out, just because that's not what people subscribe to the channel for. Anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye!